Thank you for joining us on today's Cattywampus podcast. And let me tell you, today is a special day. She's come all the way up from Thomasville, Georgia. I'm not really sure what's going to be said, but I can tell you one thing. You might feel like you left church when she gets done talking, but it's a good friend of mine, Andre, and man, it's awesome. There's more we had to spend together. Yeah. I got today, so no hat. We got a hat here, so the hat's in mourning that it's not on. I got a pair of pants rather than blue jeans. Andy Christensen, you can make fun of my collar and my shirt. Yes, my wife picked this one out. And no T-shirt. I got a button down on and all that, trying to look sophisticated for my guest here. But we know each other from Rotary. Yes. Had the opportunity to meet you a little over 10 years ago, is what we were saying. We were sitting at a training session, and I sat down. I wanted to pick the person I looked the least like, and I didn't know. And you were there and sat down across from me, and we had a great conversation. And it's been awesome getting to know you and just building. And you accepted opportunity of leadership in Rotary with me when I was governor. You get the opportunity this year to serve our district and 69 clubs now, or 7?
We have 67 clubs. So hopefully by the time I'm done, we're going to have back 69.
69 clubs. So, so state of Georgia here, we're just with 69 clubs in District 6900. And so I'm just grateful for you.
Thank you.
And 40 on.
I'm humbled by it all.
Oh, it's awesome. So I'm really grateful. Almost 40 years of service as a counselor and advocate in the mental health and addiction recovery type kind of space. Thank you for that. Husband Walter he's called himself Driving Miss Daisy this year is on his name tag, which is awesome. But preacher and evangelist, and just it's awesome to know you. So thank you for being here today. You've heard me talk about it for years about Vision Works. We obviously have a element of service in our lives, how we like to serve, but in the recovery side of things, we have a shared interest there. So I got the opportunity to share Vision Warriors with this morning after Rotary. What was that like? Am I full of crap? Here's the thing: am I full of crap, or when you showed up? What was it?
No, you're not full of crap at all.
Yeah?
You are the man.
Oh, come on now.
Man, you are the man.
Okay, say it again.
You are the man.
Pat myself on the back.
I got a chance to see it. I mean, you use all your skills, all the things you've gone through, and you purposefully put it out there where you are testing people to do what they need to do because you know the game.
Yeah.
And you know what it takes to turn it around. Yeah. So you're not full of crap. You're not taking any crap.
Yeah, that's perfect.
They can earn their place in the sun and be responsible for themselves and their lives. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
We know people in addiction. I mean, I lived in an addicted family. I know the game. I helped my sister. I was codependent with her for a while until I got healthy myself to help her get healthy.
Yeah.
And I understand that if you don't hold people accountable for themselves and what they need to do, it's not going to happen.
Amen.
So I appreciate Vision Warriors.
No.
Even more so now.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's great to be able to share it with someone when you've got a commonality, but you haven't had the ability to share because of just a distance where, here, Thomasville, Georgia is just a minute away from Alpharetta. So, right. But welcome to Alpharetta.
Thank you.
And then thank you for being here. And what we are is, if you're watching this and you get offended, just know, I didn't say it. Or if I did say it, maybe or maybe not. Sorry. If she offended you, it's like just listen to it again. Take a moment this afternoon, pray through it, watch it again. You may need 2 or 3 days to go back through, but what I've always respected about you in all of our conversation, the conversations that we've had, has been real and transparent. And it's not enough phony crap just to say it to make everybody feel comfortable. You can have a hard conversation as long as you do it gentle and you do it from a place of this is just what's going on. It's not self-serving. It's just the truth's the truth. So
I've learned that secrets keep people sick. And we live in a society where people want to be plastic and not be sane because they don't want anybody to know they're walking wounded or they're hurt. So I'm unapologetically authentic because of the fact that I choose not to be sick.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. I choose not to be sick. And not you're not going to apologize for being real and authentic. And that's what when I got to introduce you this morning, I asked Walter, husband of 50 years. Like, hey, what is the thing?
The man ahead.
Hey, oh man, well, hey, yeah, I've known you for 10. I only had to hang out with you every once in a while. No, but yeah, without a doubt, I'm praying for him more, all the time. Trust me. But 50 years of marriage, and I asked him this morning. I said, "What's the one thing that you love and admire about your wife more than anything else?" And it was genuineness. And as you talk with him more, it's just not with just him, but it's just you show up and you're there.
Being present.
And being present. And so it's just great. So jumping into it there, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being willing to be transparent, being open. We've talked about several different things, and Lord may just move on where you never know what you're going to share. But to my yours, to what is that event in your life that was just cattywampus and just jacked up, awkward, in your past of some time? What would you?
I would say the early years of my life were that. I was reared in a family that was very accomplished on many levels. And I lived through the fact that when I came into the world in the 50s, for people of color to have a home.
Well, you're black.
We'll talk about that.
I didn't realize that.
I choose to be black.
Oh, did you see black day? It's got on a white shirt, so it's okay.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll clean that up a little later. But at any rate, for people of color back in the 50s, to have a business, my dad had his business, my mom had his business. I was getting letters from the North Pole. We had big Christmases in our living room. My mother had a chandelier. Didn't understand what that was back there until I got older. And then all of a sudden life happened. At the age of 8 or 9, my family lost it all. And so to go from having to have nots to living in a home wherein you had a mom and a dad to them succumbing to success. My daddy had a wandering eye, and that led to drinking, alcoholism, and eventually the deterioration of the home. And from that, I went to a place of not being seen. Just not.
How old were you there?
I was probably about 8 years of age, up until 8, living in a home with the mom and dad and then not having one. And then from that, not having the basic needs of a home wherein you had not raining in every room of the house, or not having the light bills to be paid because the person there couldn't do it. My mother succumbing to the alcoholism, my dad already there. And then being diagnosed with cancer. And she disappeared for 2 weeks. And I didn't know where she was, didn't realize that she was living with cancer. So, I'm trying to care on at the house as a kid. And this was a little later in life, but really trying to deal with the fact of what was really going on and not really knowing. So it was kind of difficult for a while for me as a kid. And so I hid in the world of books. I did.
That's a pretty good place to hide, though.
I had a pictory of mine, and for everything that I went through, I wrote it down, or I had songs of music, which was a major theme in my life.
What was your favorite song as a child? Give us the chorus of it, right?
Okay, the favorite thing?
The favorite.
Are you sure you want to know?
Oh, the favorite. I was going to break it down right here.
Part of it was what you...
Now, look, I got a copyright to the song. When you sing this right here, I own it.
The one that you heard this morning was one of the favorites. So you hear a couple of lyrics there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm copyrighted. I own this right here. This Cattywampus.
Man is an island. No man stands alone. Each man joy is joy to me. Each man grief is mine own. We need one another. So I will defend each man as my brother. Each man as my friend. And I'd go there because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I felt so totally isolated and alone, for a long time, growing up like that. Having to take care of my mother the last couple of years of her life because we couldn't afford the medical care. Seeing her wounds green and having to clean it up, and then the doctors believing in people. Oh, we got all the cancer. And I didn't know what that meant. To only know that I lost her a couple of years later. She making a determination that, I'm 15, 16. She said, hey, when you go to school, I'm going to stop chemotherapy. Not knowing what that meant. And I left in September of '69, and she died March of 1970. So I was pissed off with God and everybody else because they told me if you prayed, he'd answer prayer. He didn't answer that one, so I went off.
Yeah.
I went off, totally off the reservation.
So it was...
Off to school, started drinking, finding some of that California weed because the Georgia weed wasn't no good.
It wasn't so good.
For about...
So that's not a plug to go to California and get high. Just saying, Georgia weed is better than California weed.
At that time, I was up in Middle Georgian School at Fort Valley State, a historically black college and university. And you hear me say that Walter saved me. On many levels, he did. He was a balanced guy. He stalked me for 5 years. He's 4 years older. And so by the time I really wanted to cut up in the world, I just started singing with a jazz band. I thought I knew what I was wanting to do. I did not want him. Definitely did not want him.
Yeah.
No children or anything. But he would come to Fort Valley, sit under the tree with a Bible. I'd go straight to Atlanta and hang out with my buddy. They say he's still out there. Crazy guy. But he...
Praying for you.
He brought me back.
Yeah.
He brought me back to a place of balance. He challenged me because Walter dropped out of school in the 8th grade. He went back later on after we got married. Dumb guy, I'm in college. You can't tell me nothing. So he said, I tell you what. He said, just read. So I started studying the Bible to prove that he was ignorant. And look where I am now, 50 years later.
That's awesome.
Sitting at his feet.
Yeah.
Listening at him preach the word of God and examining my life every day.
Yeah.
So, it's a part of, he brought me back from that place of darkness. But I wrote a book called The Songs I Could Not Sing. Because during the time in which all of that happened, I had my 9-year-old sister as well. Well, our mother died. She was only 9. So, I'm 9 years older than her. So, I'm in school. I'm trying to get home so that I can help take care of her. We got married like in '73 in August. My husband brought my sister in our home in February of '74. From that, just living through that, living through the fact that she went into addiction and early on because she didn't have that I had. You know what I mean? She had none of that. And so, seeing me go through being robbed by my sister, you know what happens in addiction, selling everything.
Boy, they do bad stuff. Come on. That's why everybody wants us next door to them.
Here's something else. That Cattywampus was like for my sister. We didn't play. I was raised in a neighborhood of boys. We just didn't play. And my sister was kind of in that same neighborhood. So she's down in Miami, and I get this call about 2 o'clock in the morning. This guy's just really out of it. He said, hey, your sister crazy. I said, I told you she was crazy.
Yeah.
He burned down his house. I said, look, man.
He burned it down or she
burned it down.
She burned down a house.
Yeah, apparently
that qualifies as Cattywampus.
They apparently was into some kind of drug stuff. And at the time I said, do yourself a favor. Get away from her.
Yeah.
Because if you decide that you're going to go after her, I'm not sure you're going to win. And so seeing her last 18 months clean, clear, and sober was the best part of life for me. Raising 2 kids, I helped with that while she was going through it. They are now, one is a retired Army officer. The other one is a master sergeant in the Army. They're doing well.
That's what I love on your bio that had a Rotary is like you had 2 children by birth and and it's like
by God.
And 2 given by God.
That was my nieces.
That's awesome. What did you learn through that part of your life as a child and coming into relationship there with Walter? What do you think? What 2 or 3 things that you learned about yourself or how you navigated through that change? That
children, first of all, are our future, and we need to invest in them. I was seen but not seen.
I was seen but not seen.
I did not have my place, I felt. I had to move from resentment to forgiveness because I resented my family for not bringing me, helping me with my balance. But I had to learn that they were doing the best they could with who they were as well. Mm-hmm. So moving from that, I learned that my commitment and passion were children because and if I'm going through it, if I went through it and I had to learn how to heal, how can I help others? So my book and my poetry, when I took it and had it published, I started using it. And what I found is that children are our most valuable resources. We give them roots and rings. My passion is to help restore and to structure life's most precious designs with children. And to do that, you gotta make room for them to live in their truths and not try to control that. So being authentic in them knowing that you two went through, when my kids found out that I smoked marijuana, Ma, you did what? Hey, so that's why I know the game you play.
Oh, California marijuana too. Don't forget that tag. Maybe Newsom will send me a check or something. He gives everybody else a check.
That's the thing I'm proud of, but at the same time, it made me who I am today. I was able to reach out to young kids. I talked to them, and I knew where they were. And it was the pain that put them there. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm not having anyone to be there for them on the level that they were.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
So it's kind of helping them through your story, through your testimony, not preaching at them, but being able to relate to them.
And just talking.
And talking in general, not necessarily telling them how to do it. But hey, look, I understand.
Been there, done that. Didn't get a T-shirt. I got a shirt, but they took it back when I left.
My son, he teaches me every day. He's 43, and he's still in the game out there. He's still learning, and so as long as we help them and work with them, I think to me that's the part.
What was the most painful lesson that you learned? Do you think that it left the most emotional, just sting? You learned it. I think we can learn something and it not be comfortable. Like not like there wasn't any healing in it, but through the learning is like it stung where you had to heal later.
You may not get it, but those who you love may not get it.
So you get it.
You get it. You understand the journey. You understand the process. You are able to forgive. You're able to move on, but they can't. In other words, we may have family members who don't want this story to be told. Surely my family doesn't get any pride of me talking about the brokenness, but I get it. I had to have that with them to be where I am. So allow me that space to tell that story and not feel embarrassed by it. It was a part of who made us who we are today, you see. Yeah. And so that's the part where I get it. You need to get it and be okay that I got it. Yeah. So for me, wanting that from them and not getting it was somewhat, not healing for me.
Yeah.
But I learned to accept it.
Yeah.
And be okay.
Well, you said something. I think it was the day when you said it. I'm trying to remember exactly. You said, or I think it was when we first sat down. It was you can't help anyone.
You can't. You have to heal before you can help.
You got to heal before you can help.
Right.
And man, now look, how different would this world be if that is because that's difficult, because a lot of times, especially in pain or in discomfort, we want to help somebody, but we got our own stuff that we need to work through first. So our judgment is out of pain or emotion, out of true ability to serve.
So we have to remove the shame. It is shame that keeps us from owning our truths, you see. And you have to move.
What's the other question? What are you most shameful? That's a great question right there. I'm gonna catch that one. We didn't talk about that one. I want to know though. What are you most?
Tell you one of the things that I was ashamed of.
Perfect.
I found out that Simon D. Hadley, the Tom.
You're going there. That's what I was waiting.
When I found out that Simon D. Hadley, which is one of the founders of Thomasville, was my great great grandpa.
Well, what makes that so shameful? He's white.
So I'm part of you.
You're part of me?
I can't hate you.
You can't hate me.
I got uncles and aunties with green, gray, and blue eyes, and I'm trying to figure out what the.
Yeah. Oh, you almost did it, but Walter get her in trouble. You can say shit on this podcast. I just want you to know.
What the hell?
Well, thank you. There we go.
And when I realized that, we were at, and I'm probably going to run out of time with it, but I got to tell this story.
No, you're not right now.
In 1970, my mother died in 70, so my first experience at my grandparents' house, coming home from college, not having a home anymore, but coming to their house, is that my grandfather retired off of the plantation there. He brought his family in the city, but he retired off the plantation. And, the Christmas there for that kind of generation was they all went back to the plantation for Christmas, and they give this Christmas party for Miss Pansy, who owned Pepper Hill Plantation. So we're singing in the choir, and all of a sudden they said, "All rise." The hell? We rising. This is 1970. Afro, Black Power. You want me to rise?
Yeah.
So they had a little. My mom kept pulling. I'm not standing up. I'm not standing up. And my grandfather, later on, I did stand up. this lady helped of these 14 kids, about 5 or 6 of them, she sent to college. Okay? She took care of those who took care of her. She had a heart. So I had to realize that out of all of that anger that I might have had about the resentfulness of my past, because I felt like we should have owned the plantation, you know.
Yeah.
If Simon D. Hadley was one of the owners, one of the founders of Thomas, but certainly some of that land belonged to me.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it because of the darker shade of pale.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to own that.
Did you say the darker shade of pale?
Darker shade of pale.
The darker, I need to get that on the team.
And there's a lighter shade of pale. That's the name of the song. A lighter shade of pale. But you know, it's kind of like understanding who I am. I'm multicultural. Okay. Yeah. So when people start running the race game on me and saying, well, you just, yeah, I'm you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You in my blood.
Yeah.
So own me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I own you. So that's what I mean, the shame of history. Now, I'm sure that the people who are a part of Simon D. Hadley's family is not celebrating the heritage of the slave-master-owner relationship. But I own that. That's my history. Yeah. So I'm not going to let you or anybody else make me feel bad about it, but I'm certainly going to say to you, I need more privileges.
Yeah.
I need more access to services, and I'm not going to deny myself that of saying, when I walk in a room and it doesn't look like me, does the leadership represent the population they serve?
Yeah.
So let's do something about it.
Yeah. Well,
I think I'm equipped to say it because I'm like you.
Yeah. No. Oh, that's the thing. Well, and the thing is we've had a lot of conversations, and if it doesn't strike just a little bit of thought, if we just keep having conversations that we're really comfortable with and we have all the time, what are we really doing other than just talking?
Exactly.
To me, a conversation needs to move us through a thought-provoking, like, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way.
We need to learn how to have difficult conversations. We need to learn to listen rather than to be heard. Listen to understand, then to be understood. And I say that from the perspective of we may not agree, but can we agree to disagree and still be all right on this path? But our society is not structured like that. Mm-hmm. We are immediately going to go and polarize each other, categorize each other, and close doors.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like it's so much anymore as if you disagree, you can't have a conversation because then you're a racist or you're this or that. It's like, look, come on. It has nothing to do with race. I do not agree with what you're saying. Yeah. Let's have a conversation so we can both understand one another and then maybe grow from it. So what are some daily disciplines, those double Ds, those things that you get up in and you do daily that keep you balanced?
Music is
singing or listening to it or both, or
listening to it, but more than anything else, I like to take pictures.
Yeah.
I'm a nature girl. I'm born in Southwest Georgia, which is God's country.
Yes, it is.
Dirt road. You give me a bicycle.
Not a dirt road, a dirt road. A dirt road.
Smelling pine trees.
Yeah.
And a bicycle. That's me.
Yeah.
I gotta be outside with nature. A sunset, Walter, we chase it. Now he'll sit in the car, but I'm gonna chase the sun. Yeah. If you on my Facebook page, you see all of that. Okay. I like to take pictures, and I love to look at the faces. And then first thing I said to you, Gary, is I love your smile. I mean, it was just...
he's cute. He's cute. You.
Hey, I love a beard in a minute.
Well, Walter, I'm sorry, Robert. I'm sorry.
But that's, for me, a sunset more than a sunrise. Yeah. Dirt road, pine trees, bikes, that's Andre. That keeps me going. Keeps me going.
Well, I'm grateful for your transparency.
Well, thank you.
And I think people hide behind race a lot on both sides of it, on all sides of it, rather than have an authentic conversation about it. And it's like, I didn't realize you were black until you just told me though. So, I didn't even realize. I just thought you were a darker shade of pale. That's what I thought. It's like, I love
all that matters about the soul.
No, but on our eyes, no, there's some really good takeaways in that. And, it's the great thing that I know to be true about you is that you will not shy away from something that you believe. It's all right if we change our beliefs at some point in time, but don't change them because of the pressure that you're going to feel that you can't share it. And so your childhood and everything that you've done to get to the point where you are, to be bold in your belief and be willing to share it, I respect and value in it, because I know it's like I called you, and I know we're running out of time, but I called you one time. I was like, you got to explain to me this. What is the deal with Black culture and fraternities and sororities? I'm like, shit, I just don't get it. Like, I was in a fraternity, but I'm not going back to conventions.
Yeah, I was there a couple of...
That's what I was saying. But it's like, but that's where I knew I could call you and you explained to me what it was and what it meant to you and why it meant that to you, without feeling like I was going to be judged on the way I asked it. I didn't know anybody else that I could call. I mean, I know plenty of people of color, but I didn't know someone that would respect the fact of, I'm not digging at something, but like, explain to this to me. Why do grown men and women dress up still like they're in college, get together? Like, what is it? And so I'm grateful for that. If you're looking, I'm sitting on a different side. I feel smarter on this side, Zach. Yeah, I'm going to switch sides, but I am going back to my baseball cap t-shirt next week. This is uncomfortable. I need a therapy session. Y'all are going to leave. Man, we're going to have a little trauma. We're going to have a little trauma therapy session after this about what pants and a button down did to me. But
Kurt, there's one other thing, before we go. I think being intentional, being purposeful, being authentic, and being passionate.
Amen.
Things that are really most important. We're not promised tomorrow. All we have is today. So if I can't have fun, if I can't laugh, if I can't dance in the sun, whether it's a mental dance, if I can't do these things, if I can't see the essence of the day without it being gloom and doom, something is terribly wrong. I'm just not going to let this world make me sad.
That is a good.
Not going to let it make me sad.
Without a doubt. So what would you do if you look? I always point at that camera because I'm usually sitting there, but I'm here. So if you look at this camera, and there's a person watching that is stuck, is not free. What would you want them to hear or see, or someone to share this with somebody that would get them to move out of that?
You are already a diamond in the rough. You already have the sparkle, and you are where you are at this moment because that's where you need to be. But there is something greater in you if you reach for it. You see, your parents gave you roots and wings, and whether you like it or not, that's what you have. You live between those two truths. You have to carve out for yourself what is most meaningful for you. Balance is everything, but you can't balance on someone other than yourself. The song that is sung by Whitney Houston, the greatest love of all, it says that I never found anyone to fulfill my needs, a lonely place to be, and I learned to depend on me. That's where you got to find that inner strength. Figure it out. Find someone that you want to put in your circle that's going to be meaningful and helpful. Not anybody that's going to drag you down. It's the people around you that covers you, but more than that is that inner voice inside of you, because you know the answer. You're just afraid to own it. You have the answers. They're not outside of you. They're all inside of you. Trust the process. Don't rush it. Trust the process and make it happen.
That was awesome. Thank you for being. I wish we had 3 hours and a couple more, but I know where you live, and we might just have to come to Thomas after. We definitely, I do want to definitely do another one with you. We'll come to you when you get done with the Rotary year.
Okay.
I want to come and kind of have a debrief with you on what serving at that level looks like and really empowering. So, thank you for watching this episode. Please share it. Make some comments. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now, and check back next week for another great Cattywampus experience with another special guest. Thanks for watching.